What is up, guys? It's the Sound Alchemist, blessing my Sunday afternoon with the grace of
Gersh1.
And today we're back at it answering more questions that you guys have left in another spine-tingling, enticing episode of For the Greater.
This is a video series where we answer the questions left by you, the viewer. If you have a question for us, comment down below. Put a question in front of your question because we get those questions first. We are also rolling out super thanks, so if you guys want to support the channel, you can send us over a super thanks. What that does is you could ask a question and it's a guaranteed answer for the next episode. So thank you guys for all the super thanks. And that brings us to the first question by Condor DCS. He asks, what does the Imperium do when two loyal planets go to war with each other? I mean, neither of them turning traitor and neither neglecting their tithes for the Imperium, but for some reason they don't really like each other. Does this happen? And if so, if it does, then what does the Imperium do in such a case? If there is no danger of chaos corruption and the two planets duking it out doesn't affect the Imperium's overall war effort, do they just let them fight it out? So let's answer that one first. The answer is yes.
Yeah, it happens not as much as you would think, but it does happen. And yeah, for the most part, I feel like as long as there's not a really big schism in the way things work, such as tithes being paid, them sending out like recruits, food being available and stuff like that, they'll just let them duke it.
Yeah, because that's really the standard for most Imperial, like the way the Imperium governs their planets is that the planetary governor has autonomy to run the planet however he wants. Mm-hmm. If that within that autonomy, he can go to war with other planetary governors if he really chooses to. I don't know of any like hive cities that have gone to war with each other, or anything like that, but you have to remember that there's a lot of like political, what is it called, like drama that goes on within a sector. So if you have an agri world, the agri world is giving food and resources to certain planets, so it makes sense that that's going to be a valuable resource. And if like a certain family controls it, then it's good. And like the betrayal and like it basically turns into another like House of Dragon, Game of Thrones type of situation.
Dune.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. The only like concrete evidence that I found in a codex would be like the Forge Worlds. Yes. So like the different types of Forge Worlds, if you like, depending on which when you choose, like Metallica, Stygia 7, Mars, they fight with each other, and the Imperium is hands off. Not just because it's the Adeptus Mechanicus, but because that's just the way.
Mm-hmm. This is the way. Yes. Let them squabble unless it affects your pockets.
And in a way, it kind of makes sense that they would want to squabble because, like, it creates tougher warriors, right? Mm-hmm. Like veterans and people just ready to go to war because they've been experienced in war. So, like, bring on the Xenos kind of thing. Yeah. Because they've been fighting each other
for a long time.
Right.
Yeah. This next one is by Ondra Stanis, who can be considered the leader of the Dark Mechanicum. So this depends on like when it is being asked, because if it happened during the Horus Heresy, or I guess before the heresy, it was the Fabricator General, because he was the one that was like in control of all of Mars, and he's the one that sided with Horus.
Yep.
So, and if you're asking this nowadays, I don't think there's one sole ruling character in the Dark Mechanicum. I feel like they're all kind of just like each forge has their own like dude.
Yeah, basically. If Mars wanted to, and they can go to like Metallica or whatever and like put their 2 cents in, and then there would be like a little skirmish. But yeah, for the most part, like there's a ruling, what is it called? Priesthood within every single like Forge world, and then they answer to Mars. But like the Fabricator General technically is the leader of Mars and the leader of the priesthood, but yeah, still that autonomy reigns.
Right. And even then, you have certain like cults of the Mechanicum that are like heretical, but they still appear to be loyalist.
Right.
So you never really know. However, recently, this past weekend, we got a small clip of like some shadowy figures. Maybe it's the Dark Mechanicum. Maybe it's just chaos stuff coming out. So maybe we'll get some actual characters or an army or something to play the Dark Mechanicum on the tabletop.
Let's hope so. Let's cross our fingers. That's another faction to add to 40K, and especially like a really good kit bashing one.
Oh yes, yes. Cross your fingers and cross your toes if you're able to do that.
Yeah. Next question comes from Mark Watton. Have you ever seen a purple orc? Yeah, on like Instagram, Pinterest, Facebook. But within the lore, the closest thing would be a Slaaneshi orc, which exists.
Yeah.
Slaaneshi orcs are just, orcs that somehow deviated towards the worship of Slaanesh. So cardinal pleasures, and their pleasures are basically like, killing for fun and like eating squigs for fun, I guess.
But yeah, the main reason why you don't see purple orcs is because they're sneaky.
Right. Yeah. They'd be hiding.
How did people even know they were purple orcs?
Because other orcs saw them.
But they're supposed to be so sneaky.
Well,
it's like the boogeyman, though. Like they tell the little grotlings like scary stories at night.
Yeah. And then it's purple. The boogeyman.
You know what else is purple?
This
next one is by Condor DCS. When Chaos Forces, especially that of the Traitor Astartes or Traitor Guardsmen, Cultists, or Dark Mechanicus, travel in the warp, do they also use Geller fields like Imperial ships so they don't get unwanted visits from demons?
Who?
Basically anything Chaos.
Oh.
Do they travel with the warp, the Geller field on, or without it?
And I think we answered this in a previous episode. They definitely have to travel with it on. They have to. Demons do not care whether you are a chaos worshiper, a cultist, or if you're like an emperor-fearing citizen. Like they will mess with everybody. Yeah. The best example of it is, was it Mark Lewis Spark?
Death of Hope. Yes.
The second one, the 30-minute long video, it shows how there's a cultist walking with word bearers down the corridor, and then you see the demon kind of like mocking the cultist, and the cultist gets distracted. If there was no Geller field, that demon that was walking alongside the like outside of the ship would jump in there and just wreak havoc.
Yeah, and even then in the little film animation, they're like flickering in and out of reality.
Right.
So if the field wasn't there, they'd be in there and just causing rampant destruction.
Licking and squeezing. I have one by Andre Nishi. What would happen if the Emperor had involved Percharabo in the WAAAGH project? I wrote this from the Primarch special abilities. So his special ability is basically just a siege breaker.
Yeah, Percharabo. He's the opposite of Dorn. Dorn builds fortifications. Pert, the homie Pert, breaks them down.
So I guess like WAAAGH project to like destroy the WAAAGH and kind of understand it. I guess that's what you mean. Unless you mean like his ability to see into the warp. Like he had that warp by. But it was really more of like his own doom. Right?
Pretty much, yeah. It's very... Because, like, the Emperor, I feel, never wanted to use the Primarchs for the WAAAGH project. That's why he never told him about it. And that's why he put Horus in charge of the Great Crusade and had the Emperor just focus everything on that himself. So, if Percharabo did have a role in it, it would have been nothing.
Right.
At least that's what I kind of get from it.
Because he wasn't a like natural psych, or he was a natural psyker, but he didn't like implement the psychic abilities on the battlefield. So which like it would make more sense for Magnus to be involved in the WAAAGH project, because like he wasn't naturally a sorcerer. Right. Percharabo was not to that extreme.
Yeah, I mean technically all the Primarchs have some sort of like psychic or warp influence.
Right.
But it's, it usually doesn't manifest to the point of like Magnus.
Right. Yeah. So any benefit that I would see is like.
He thick.
Yeah.
Maybe that's it. Yeah.
Okay. Next question comes from AtoZ. The Kitchen of Doom is echoing. Why don't you use a room with better acoustics? Because then the lighting is off.
Yeah.
No, and I think what happened in that last episode is that I might have left one of the recordings for one of these cameras on, and then not the actual just mic, because the mic recordings is fine. I think. Next question.
This one's by Kraken. Since the Mechanicus believe in a machine spirit, would masturbating with a vibrator be a holy act?
Yeah.
Because you're getting interpersonal with the spirit of the machines, the Omnissiah.
And then you would then have to continue to do it every single night, because that's appeasing the machine spirit of your whatever it is that you use.
Yeah. And you do got to rub holy oils on it too.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe involve a servitor or two.
Yep. And that's a video I would watch. Last question comes from Wing075. Hey, so what the fuck is up with the playlist? I click on one after clicking on your videos, and I get a bunch of other channels that I don't want to listen to. I don't know if you have an answer, but it wakes me up and annoys the living shit out of me. I listen to you guys as I go to sleep, and as you have very calming voices. And when some other ass clown comes on, it wakes me up, and I am not in a very happy mood.
Yeah, that happened to me once, and it never happened again. So I don't know if maybe it's just YouTube glitching or doing something weird. There is something YouTube does where it's just like a mix. Mm-hmm. So it'll show like one of our videos, but then it's a mix of everything Warhammer 40K. I think the simplest and easiest way to kind of avoid that is to go specifically to our channel and click on the playlist tab and go from there.
And obviously the longest one is going to be the For the Greater WAAAGH episodes. Mm-hmm. Another thing too is like, so if you click like the Second Legion fan lore playlist only has 2 videos. If you click on that and then you have a continuation, or you have the little continuation toggled on,
right?
Then after these 2 videos are done, then you get the next.
Right, because essentially you've gone through the whole playlist and it's just giving you more.
Right, so if you're listening to like or if you want to learn about the White Scars and you're checking out the White Scars playlist, there's only 7 episodes. So if you're listening to those 7 episodes and you sleep longer than that, which I am assuming you do, then all of a sudden you're gonna get other people's things because you have that
that like autoplay feature going on.
Yeah, but yeah, I would recommend the Greater WAAAGH. What is it called? Videos. The 40K lore videos, and the 13 Days of Halloween.
Yeah, spooky.
Space Marine lore is also on there. That one has 18 episodes.
If you want to hear battles going on, I've got the Grimdark battles with like close to 20 episodes.
Fan lore is 42 episodes. Mm-hmm. So check those out. But those were the questions for today. If you guys have more questions for us, please comment down below. Thank you guys so much for listening to us, and we will talk tomorrow.
As always, it's the Sound Alchemist here with
Gershwin,
and we are out.
Oh, I used to put my freedom first.